This is the session 4, and we'll be talking about I'll just quickly go through what will be. So we've done this investigation, requirement elicitation, and we've also completed, let's say, our analysis, gap analysis. So we are in the middle of that, doing the gap analysis and also to document the requirements and to model the process. So today, let me just move this away. I don't think I actually need this one. Okay, so today we'll be using a case study because I know last week we actually modeled some of the business processes or for just an example to show us how to use the MS Visio, and also if you want to model a business process, how to do that. So I just thought probably maybe just to, because I think after today, I will not be demonstrating on how to model a business process. I will not be doing that. So I just try to focus on that today again to make sure we all we know how to do that, how to model the business process. So we'll be using a case study, just to make sure we relate that to something real. So that at least you have an understanding of how to go about it, how you want to do it. So the case study we are going to use today is the recruitment system. So now for the recruitment system, so you've been given this project that you need to come on board to come and work on a recruitment system. Probably maybe they want to purchase a new one, or they want to maybe it's just to improve what they have at the moment, or they don't even have anything at the moment. But during your analysis, during your requirement elicitation, you'll be able to find out what the problem is, what you need to do, what you are here for, whether it's an existing system or maybe it's just a new system from the scratch, or what they're trying to do. So now let's assume that you've carried out your workshop and you're interviewing, so you have the requirements now, and they're giving you all the information about the recruitment system. So now you want to document your high-level business process and low-level business process. If you remember last week, we talked on the levels, the types of business processes that you can model. So we are just going to pick 2 out of those list. I know we mentioned about the context diagram, the flow charting, and also the use case, but we are going to focus on the high-level business process and low-level business process. So now assume that you've already have all your requirements in place, and you now want to start your documentation. So because when you are documenting, you need to document the business requirement specification, which we are going to discuss as well today. So, but at the moment, assuming we just want to model the business process first. So how do you go about modeling the business process with the information that you have? So the first thing we are going to do is to model the business, the high-level business process, because you can't just go into the low level without, giving or let's say the overview of what the business process of the probably maybe if it's a new system, or maybe if it's an existing, if they have any existing system, you still need to document that. So in this scenario, they have an existing system that they are using. So that means we need to document our ASIS, the existing system, so which we call our ASIS. So we are going to start with the high-level business process of the ASIS of the process they actually have. They actually have at the moment. So I'm going to switch over to Visio now. Okay. Yeah. So now we want to, I'm on the cross-functional Visio now, and I'm sure if you can't see, just send me a chart. Yeah. Okay. Yes, you can see. That's fine. So now we want to do the cross-functional. So we want to start to document our ASIS now. Yep. Sorry, the system is just loading. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So we have a, you know, uh, okay. So I've selected a cross-functional, to document this because I'm going to use my Streamline. And the reason why I'm using the Streamline is because I'm going to have more than one, one function, like say one department or one unit, in this process. So that's why I'm going to use my cross-functional, because I've determined that, I've identified that definitely because it's cross-functional that will fit for this. So what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to add few to lines to this. So I will be adding it as necessary. Let me just zoom it so that I'll be able to see. Okay, yeah. So now, so what I'm going to do, so I think I'm going to change this default. Let me just minimize this. Okay, fill. Okay, I'm going to change the default to, let's say, white. Okay, everything white. Come on, change the default. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Fill option. Yeah. I supposed to have set this earlier. Okay, yeah. Come on. Okay, this one as well, and this one. Okay, so now, so what am I going to call this? So like I said, the way I'm going to model my own process. So I can say, what do I want to call this? Recruitment. Yeah, I can just say recruitment. Yeah, recruitment. And I will say assist, so that at least anybody that picks it that up will be able to know, what exactly. Yeah. Okay, let me use that bold clock. Okay, assist. So at least if you pick that up, you can see that it's a recruitment process and is assist process. So you'll be able to identify that from the to be and the assist. I'm going to put my name. Auto, I think it to be Abby, and then I can put date. Today is 02/7/19, and I'm going to do I'm going to put my version as well, because I try to make sure I'll be able to, in case if I need to update that, I'll be able to know the version that I'm working on. So I'm going to say version 0, because this is a first draft, so it's going to be version 0.1. So you always start with version 0.1. It's only when it is signed off and is and its baseline, that's when you have it as 1.0. But as long as you're still making alteration and updating the document, making some changes on the draft, on the because this is still a draft, so it's still going to be like 0.1, 0.2 till you get a sign off. So now I've labeled that. So now I need to label all these, the functions. So for my recruitment, because I'm going to have hiring manager, so that's the manager that actually wants, a new staff. Probably maybe somebody left and they just need a new staff. So I'm going to put hiring manager. Yep. Okay. And yeah. Okay. And so I'm going to have HR personnel. So it could be HR administrator, it could be HR manager, but I'm going to put just HR. Let me say HR manager. So for the sake of HR manager. And also, I'm going to have, for every recruitment, definitely you're going to have an applicant or candidate that need to apply for the job. So I'm going to have my candidates. So it could be applicant or candidate, but let's just use, yeah. So now, at least for now, these are the three functions areas that I've actually identified. So now, so for these, let's say the business, the stakeholders have notified me during the interviewing or maybe during the workshop that what they first do, the hiring manager, what the person will do is just to download the form, like download a form from their portal, maybe like intranet portal, or maybe they have some, folders or maybe, web repositories where they keep all the forms. So now I'm going to start with my start. So I'm going to use this. Yeah. Okay. And what some people, what they do, they write in the box. They can just say start. They write in the box here saying probably maybe start. But so it depends. Some people write it, so it depends on how you want to do it. But at least once I have it as green, and I'm sure, and I'm going to do something later that you'll be able to know that I'm actually, using that for. Okay, feel. So I'm going to use green for that. So because he's the hiring manager that is going to initiate this process, so I'm starting from the hiring manager box. Swim lane. The lane. Let me just call it that way. So now the hiring manager, what the hiring manager does is that the hiring manager will download a form. So I would just say download vacancy form. So I'm going to shorten most of these things just because of time. Download vacancy form. Let me increase this because I can't really see it properly. So download vacancy form. Yeah. So once the let me reduce this as well. Anyway. So now, so I have download vacancy form. Oh, come on, where are vacancy? Let me read. Yeah. Okay. So, and the manager has downloaded the vacancy form. The next thing that the manager will do is to complete the form. So I'm going to have complete. Remember we are using our verb. So complete the form. Complete the form with required details. Yeah. Okay. So now, and what the manager, the hiring manager also, then after completing the form, we scan. That's the assist. That's what they do now. So we scan the form to HR. Let's say HR generic mailbox. So probably maybe on the instruction they have the instruction on it to say when you complete this form you have to send it to a particular email address. So now, so the manager has completed the form and now scan the form. So now the manager will actually send that to, so the manager will now send that to hiring manager, scan the mail or the form to HR. So now you can see scan the mail form. So that means it's already in the mailbox or for the HR mailbox. So so now that means it's now in the possession of the the HR team. So the HR, so probably let's say the HR will download the form. they will download, or we can say, let me just say receives receives the form. Yeah, and once they receive the form, once the HR receive the form, they can, it's not just receiving it, and what they do, they check the completeness of the form, of the form. Now, so because the activities is within the HR manager, so that's why we are actually doing these activities there. And now, so when you check for the completeness, there's a probability that it could be complete or not complete. So excuse me, so what we do now, so is a decision box. So this is where you check now. So now, is it complete? Is the form, so we can say, is the form we can say, is the form accurate or complete? Let's just put it that way. Is the form accurate or complete? Yeah. So now, so is a decision box. So it's a question. So because when you check, so there's a probability of that. So now, so if it's not, so that means it could be yes or no. So now we having, if it's no, so let me just put it out here first. So assuming that this is no, so that means I'm going to just over on that line. Assuming that is no, what will happen? So that means they will send this particular box, because I'm doing high level. So that means they will send this back to, to the hiring manager. So I will just move that across. So you can just use this, just to make sure everything aligns. So you can just use the arrow, to do that. But at least we'll try as much as possible to. So let me just leave it that way. So at least you can see that is no, but definitely when you are doing it, you make sure that is straight. When you are sending it to stakeholder, you need to make sure all the lines are straight. And so that means, is the form complete? No. So we can. So that means they will send it to the to the manager, saying, correct the form. So that means the hiring manager will correct the form, and return, or we can just say correct the form. So that means, so what you can do, this could be a two-way thing, because when they send it, you receive it back. You can just draw another arrow that will come from, no, it should be the other way around. Let me just say. So you can just draw an arrow that will come from this top, from the, HR, or from the hiring manager, to say, no, because it's changing that. Okay, let me just do it the way I actually wanted to do it before. So now I will say correct the form. So once he corrects the form, the hiring manager will send back again, send the form to HR. So now, so the hiring manager is sending that to HR. So then, it's go back to that. So the arrow, I need a complete here. So, yeah. So that is no. And what the mistake that most times is that, that you need to be very careful, is that sometimes you may forget the yes. So you can say that we still need a yes here, because if it's no, that means there is definitely, oh, you need to have a yes. Let me just put it that way. So now assume that this is my yes. So let me say this is my yes. So what happened if it's yes? So I need to know what happened, what do they do? So I'm going to expand this line because it's still the HR, you know, that is still doing that. So what the HR will do is just to say, I'm going to adjust this box here. Move this one down because you can actually move this down to allow, to allow that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this. Yeah, okay. So this is my yes. So that means I will say, if it's yes, if it's complete, they will upload the form on the website. That means the vacancy will be posted on the website. So when the vacancy is posted on the website, what happens? That means the applicant, so the next thing is that the applicant apply for the job. So because this is applicant's lane, so the applicants, browse the website, download, okay, yes, the applicants apply for the job, apply for the job. So now the applicants apply for the job. What happened again? So it's possible that they will receive a lot, but because it's high level, so then the next task is that when the HR thinks probably maybe they've had enough CV, probably maybe there are some other processes that they carried out here, but because it's high level, we are not really going into detail of that. So which you can do in low level. So then we can say, what we do now, apply for the job. Then the HR will shortlist candidates, yeah. So they shortlist the candidates. Then probably once they shortlist the candidates, then the HR, probably maybe their process is that they will send all the shortlisted candidates, depending on the process that they have or how they work. It could be they have to send all the CVs, to the hiring manager, or they have to bring it down shortlisted to maybe probably like 5. But let's say they've shortlisted the candidates and we're saying they send the CV, send the shortlisted CVs, So now, who did they send that to? So you could put shortlisted, or send this shortlisted CV. But if I'm going to here, if I'm going to say receive CV, then you will know that actually this the shortlisted CV is being sent to this person, to the hiring manager. But if not, if it's not going to be, if I'm not going to put receive there, I can just say send the shortlisted CV to hiring manager. Then I can just say review the CV here. So at least, but I'm going to say receives the shortlisted CVs. Okay. Now, so although what you need to do, you could use the offline, the off-page reference, but just because of time, I'm not going to do that. So I'll continue on this. So when you're printing something like this out, it could be probably maybe on the B3 or what they call it, or A3. So yeah, but here, so the hiring manager have received that, then the hiring manager select 5 CVs. Yep. Okay. Now they select 5 CV, then feedback to the HR team saying receives shortlisted names or candidates. So because in this process, we are assuming that is the HR person that will contact the candidates, not the hiring manager. So receives shortlisted names or candidates names, yeah, so depending. So now this person, the hiring manager, will contact the candidates, okay, or probably, let's say probably maybe call the candidates. Let me say call the candidates, or call the candidates. Oh, no, I think I need to bring a point out there, so I'm not going to do that now. I will say contact the candidate. And the reason why I changed that is because when you are gathering your requirements, then you need to, when you're analyzing this process, then you could figure out, that's why you need to be able to have that analytical skills. Then you can say, okay, they contact the candidate. How did they contact the candidate? Is it by phone? Is it by email? Or is it by, or how did they do it? So those are the questions. That's why I changed that. So you will be able to figure that out and ask. That's what you need to ask that question. So, but I'm going to leave it as contact the candidate. And so because it's eye level, so I'm going to bring this down here. So that means the hiring manager, the HR person. Maybe let me just probably maybe move this. So the HR person now has contacted the candidate. So the candidate, we attend the interview. Because it's high level, we are not going to go because definitely there are some processes here or steps or attacks here. So definitely I'm going to just skip that. Attend the interview. Yeah. So now, so when the person attends the interview, so as we all know that there is possibility that this person is either successful or not successful. So the question would be on the HR managers that is a candidate successful, because the question, so that's why we are using that candidate successful. Candidate successful. So is the candidate successful? So that means we have yes or no again. So so if yes, okay, so then if yes, what happened? Let me first do the no. I like that. So if it's no, this is my no, because I'm not getting, let me just put that here or here. So if it's no, what happened? So that means this person will receive unfortunate, or how do they say, we are sorry, you've not shortlisted, so receives unsuccessful letter. Let's say unsuccessful letter or email, or successful notification. So that means you can also figure out, how do they notify the person? Is it by email or letter or telephone? Yeah, okay, so we'll leave it there. So that means if the person is not successful, that means that's the end of the road for that person. So here I'm going to have the end for this person. That means that person is now, that's the end of the road for the person. So it's going to be end for that person. So that means that one has ended. That is no. So now if it's yes, what happens? If it's yes, we say yeah. If it's yes, definitely you still need to notify the person. You still notify the candidate. So that means I could bring this down here as well. Let me just, so that means I could bring this down here. Let me move this one. Let me move this one here. So here. So now, if it's yes, so because the candidate will still receive yes or no. So no, they will receive unsuccessful, they are with hand. So if it's yes, notifying, let's say receive successful. Let's use receive as well. Receives successful notification. Successful notification. Yeah. So now, so this person has received successful notification, and what happened is that the HR manager or receive probably maybe offer letter or something like that. So let's say receive successful notification or receive offer letter. Let me just put offer, receives offer letter, or receives offer. Yeah, let me just put it that way. So you can now figure out is it letter or, you know, or appointment or receive appointment. Let me just put it that way. And then we can say the HR manager will say, we say, okay, notify hiring, notify of resumption date. And once the date, then because this person, the manager, the HR will be notifying the hiring manager. So then the hiring manager will receive information that the new staff will be receives notification. And at the moment, because what they do is that ends the process for what they do at the moment. So we can just say, then that is it. So that means the manager now has, you know, the new starter. So they've recruited a person. So now we've completed, let me just minimize it. Excuse me so that you can see properly. So now we've completed our assess. This is our high level now. So just to quickly walk through again, this is our high level process for the existing assess, you know, recruitment for the organization at the moment. So I will just quickly walk you through again. Okay, so we have 3 different function area or people that actually do this. So this is the hiring manager, the HR manager, and the candidates. So what did candidates, what did you at the moment? So the manager download the form, and also, sorry, the screen is really small. The manager download the form, the vacancy form. So we don't know where the manager download the vacancy form from. So that's one of the things that you need to figure out. So the manager complete the form with required details. The hiring manager scan the form to HR generic mailbox, and the HR receive that form, receive the form. You check the completeness. Is it complete? Yes. Then it upload the form onto the website. If it's no, you send it back to the hiring manager to correct the form. The hiring manager corrects that and send the form to HR. Yeah. So now if it's yes, so the manager, the HR personnel upload that on the website. The candidate or applicant apply for the job. The HR shortlist the candidates. The HR send the shortlisted CV to the hiring manager. The hiring manager receives the shortlisted CVs, then select 5 CVs that even depending on the what they do. Then receive so the HR receive that names of the shortlisted people, candidates, and the HR contact the candidates. Then the candidates attend the interview. Is this person, so the HR will determine whether the person is successful or not. If the person is the person successful, no. So the candidate received unsuccessful notification, which ends that process. And because it is yes, the person is successful, the person received, you know, the offer from the HR, from the organization. Then the HR received the notification of notify of resumption date to the manager, and that ends the recruitment process. So that's the high level. now. So now that we've documented the high level, the business process, so which is going to be part of what you're going to send to the probably maybe the IT team or the supplier to understand what they do at the moment. So now you need to document your to be as well, because that's the essence of you working on that project. So I'm going to do a new one. So which is this? So now this high level business process, I'm going to do a new one now. So let me just use that particular, I will just use the new page. Yeah, add a new page. So this is my new page now. So I'm going to do the low level one. So the low level, I'm going to start with a new one. Because I'll still be having 3 different. So, but depending, so probably maybe you may now have probably with the solution or what they propose, it could be 4 now. So definitely you'll be able to or figure that out once you are doing that. And then we'll put that one. Yep. Okay. So, yeah. So what I can even do, I would have just copied that, but never mind. So I will have my title again. So I can say recruitment. Recruitment. Sorry, let me just quickly check this, just to check if it's not something. Is it possible to talk us through? Okay, thanks for that. Okay. Recruitment. So it's still recruitment, and is mine to be now. So this is going to be my to be. What have I done? Okay. Okay, to be. So I'm going to have the same. I can just copy that over. Let me just do that. So now, so you can see that is to be. I'm doing it to be. It could be version. This could be version 1. So I'm going to have my hiring manager again. This is our HR manager. And this is our candidates. Yeah. Okay. Now, so for this, and one thing, just on this, when you are doing your process map, is advisable. Yeah, it's advisable that, that's what I do. It's advisable to say, for example, what I do, I bring, let's say, for example, this one, all the symbols that you've actually used in this map. For example, because I use this, I use let me minimize this one. I use this, the green for the start. Come on, where are you? So I use the green. So I can say, so what I would do, I would just say, I'll bring my text box. Where's my text? So I'll just say start. So that even if the stakeholder, whoever that is going through the process map, if the person does not know the meaning of the green, seeing all this thing at the bottom, then the person will be able to relate that, saying the green means start. So it's always good to do that. So then I can say this one, I can do that as well, and say this means my activities or task. Oh, come on. Just try to make sure we can say task. Let me put another one here and another one here. That is let's say that will be that will be the hand. Let me see, one will be here, will be decision here. Okay, so at least it's just for whoever that is, to have an understanding. Then I can bring I can pull the shape here, so which means this means decision and this one means end. So it makes it more presentable and easy to, for easy flow for whoever that is reading it. So that's is always good, to do that, because if not, the stakeholder may call you and say, oh, could you tell me, I don't really understand what you've done. Then Bob saying this, definitely the person will be able to, the reader will be able to know the meaning of the symbols. And sometimes what some people do as well, I do that sometimes as well, but it depends on what is applicable where you are working, because when you have so many boxes, so it could be a bit, clumsy. But what some people do, which I do sometimes as well, is, I can number it, just for easy flow. You would, so that means you would know that if you see that, that follows that particular box. This one, 3. So people do this, so it's not that it's not acceptable. So, but you just need to check on what other people are doing in your organization as well. So I can say 5. Because when it comes to here, at least you'll be able to know that this one is 6. Is 6, 6. So why is this one like this? Complete. Check the completeness of the form. Upload to website. Yeah. So why is this here? Okay. No, that's not right. So check the completeness. Check the completeness. Upload the form. So this should now be here. Is the form accurate? Yeah. Okay. Is the form accurate? Yeah. So this one should be. Let me just move this one. So you should have like an arrow here. Yeah, okay. So here, so that means this is 6. So what sometimes what you could do, you could label this 7, and you could label this 7. So depending on how you want to flow, that means that once you do 7 here, that means this will be 8, then this will be 9, this will be 10, flow like that. So I'll just leave that so because of time. So here, so I'm going to start. So just make sure you predefine, the all the the processes, the symbol, you just label it out. So we come to this one again because this is our to be. So so now for the to be, the high level, we are doing doing the high level. So is it going to be, now what they want, they send the form, so send the request. So now it's not about download, because the hiring manager will not be downloaded, so they just send the request. So let's say send request form, send the request form to HR for vacancy. Okay, so once it sends that, yeah, so because it's high level, so the high we post um job vacancy on the website, then you can see that it's really straightforward. This one is, so apply for job, when they apply for job, so that means um the HR will shortlist, and once the HR shortlist candidates, let's say shortlist candidate because it needs to be clear, shortlist candidates, then so here then we have, so you can see that I've omitted the step of probably maybe the hiring manager, sending it to the hiring managers, because probably maybe that's not what they want to be doing in the new system. They just want the HR to do everything. So probably maybe the hiring manager would most have given information on what. So that's what you are going to detail in the low level. Those details need to reflect on the low level, because if not, are we going to know all the missing or maybe other tabs? Other tags that needs to be carried out. So, but because this is high level, so it doesn't really matter. But it's just for whoever that is reading it, or whether the supplier or the IT team, to be able to understand what the process is all about. So now they know that the person, or HR, will shortlist the candidate. Then they will shortlist the candidates. So the person is the HR that will invite. Let's say invite candidates for interview. Candidate for interview. So once they invite, then that means the candidates need to attend the interview. And once the candidates attend the interview, what happen? The HR. So that means it could be. So you can see that it's not even going through the HR. So that means because it's the hiring manager that actually interviewed the candidates. So then the person will just notify HR on the results. So results. Notify HR on the of the job on the result. Yeah. So now, so assume so that means the HR will receive the information. So the HR will now be contacting the candidates. Contact candidates. So that means, yeah, so the candidates could be successful or not. But because it's high level, we are going to miss that gap. So you're going to figure that out during the low level. So I'm not going to, go through that. So let's assume that this is the information that you have on the to be. So then, so they can notify candidates, then the candidates receive. So we can say the candidates receive. We can just even say, we can even skip that and say, okay, once the person contact candidates, then the HR will also offer employment, offer employment. But when you are documenting your what's it called? your detail. Everything has to be detailed. You know, all these decision box, whether the person is successful or not, everything needs to be written out. So the person offer employment, probably maybe, the person, this person even received the employment. We can just say the person resumes job. So the candidate is now resuming job. So the manager, once the candidates receive, so probably maybe they want to have an onboarding process. Then we can say the onboarding process, because it could be the onboarding they have like the onboarding process is going to be a sub process, so which is going to involve so many things. So let's assume. So that means my arrow is coming here. So that means once the person resume, the candidate resume job, so the manager will make sure the onboarding process kicks in, so we can say onboarding. So if you remember last time we talked about the sub process, so that means this onboarding process could have like 4 different activities. It's going to involve completing new starter form, or completing payroll form, completing mandatory training form, induction letter, things like that. So but just so we just say, okay, this onboarding process kicks in here, and and we can just say the candidates attend the induction. So that means all this thing has happened here. Then we can say the candidates attend induction, and now the candidates is settled in. So which means so that means you now have the candidates is settled, has been onboarded. So come on. So I'm going to change this to my, so that means this is my eye level now. This is our eye level to be of the new system. And so I'm going to, what I do sometimes as well, I can even do like, color this, because sometimes it just make it, more beautiful, let me just do that way. Let me change all these ones. I could use different, like maybe 2 colors or 3 colors depending, but the most important thing is just for them to be able to read it. You understand? So that's the most important thing. So you can color it as well. I'm just going to do that. Let me say green. It's just that it looks, attractive. Yeah. And I can even use another color for the sub process. So let me see. Yeah. So you could use I didn't put this green one. What you could do, you could use like for example, all your tags, you could use one color for all your tags, and your decision box, you could use a different color, and your sub process, you could use a different color, and so it could be like 4 categories of tags. So that means any of this color will be for tags, and maybe the red will be from start, and the yellow will be for sub process. So it depends on how you want to do it anyway. So but at least these are complete. So these are high level of the to be. So now, so you've documented the high level. So you put that as part of your, your business requirements document, and it could be a separate document, but most times it's usually embedded in the business requirement documents, so which is usually Excel for the business requirement specification. So now I've got this, and for me as as a supplier, definitely I have an overview of what you want, but I don't really know exactly how it's going to work. But so the low level is going to now help me to understand all the things that you actually, you actually want as well. So we move on to the high or to the low level now. So I'm going to copy this over so that at least it will be easier and faster, because I know we've got just 1 hour left. And so we want to document our low level. So now I've got my low level. It's just because I don't want, because of time, that's why I want to use this, but I may have to delete most of these things. Sorry, I may have to delete most of it, but at least I will leave some stuff in there. Because the low level is going to be detailed, and I'm just conscious of time. Yeah, but let me start. Let me delete all this stuff. Probably maybe it will be easier for me to even just let me start from the beginning. It will be easier for me. Yeah. Yeah. So we have our HR, hiring manager, still hiring manager, HR personnel, HR manager, and then candidates, and here it's a recruitment recruitment process. Let's say to be, it's still our to be, and so you have the name as usual, but I'll just put auto date and auto date and version. So it could be probably maybe version 0, version 0.2. And one thing is that once you are documented, before you actually put it in the, you send it out, everything has to be changed to probably maybe 1.0 or 2.0. It has to be baseline. But because we are still drafting it, and that's why I'm using 0. Version 0.2. But before you send it out to your IT team or maybe to the supplier, it has to be, the sign-off version. So all these ones will need to be changed, to probably maybe 1.0. Once you sign that, so you can send a version 0 wherever to, to your to the supplier. So it's just that when the stakeholder are reviewing it, so it will be version until they sign that off. So you could have many alteration, as I said earlier. So okay, let's just leave that one. And so we move on to our start. So I may not be able to color all the stuff, but I will try and do the red and the start, my start, and my star. Okay, here for the low level, so what I'm going to be, have got it as to be my recruitment process. So the hiring manager will send so now I could, because I think, because this is going to really be detailed, so I could say the hiring manager send request, send request to HR, or maybe to HR team, or maybe to generic mailbox. Let me just put it that way. So, but here I could use sort of like annotation. I don't know whether I've mentioned that earlier, but if not, I could use sort of like, because there are some what's it called? Something that you can use to, I'm trying to now this one. layer. I'm trying to look for one of the things that I do use. If not, maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe no, he's not in this one. Okay, yeah. So sometimes what I do, some project depends. So this is what we call the so sometimes depending on the organization, like I've used this type of stuff before, but I would just try, and I'm not going to use this one because it looks like rectangle. I may use okay, let me use something like this. So depending on what is acceptable in the organization anyway. So let me just put it here. Then I may use different color to fill this. So what I can say, so here I'm letting the reader knows that it's by email or telephone. So that's the essence of me putting this here. It's just to give more information of how the person notify the HR. So we're not going to do all the fancy stuff. Yeah. So but you can just color that. Sorry, let me just read it. Let's see. Yeah. So what's the advantage of low-level process? And I think the low-level process is just for the solution, because when you are actually gathering your requirements and they just mention to you, oh, we need a recruitment system, you need to understand the detail. So like for example, like if I say you send let me enlarge this. If you say you enlarge, sorry, go. Oh, this notification is really. So if I say send request to HR, how will you know if you don't actually document the the low level? How will you be able to know if it's the person the sending of the request is by email or is by completing a form or by telephone, or there are some steps that we've actually missed out on the high level because you don't really want to go into detail. You just want the supplier or maybe the IT team to understand what you are trying to have an overview. But it's the low level that will actually give you the details, like maybe the font size or the lettering, the color, things like that. So it's the low level that will actually help you to do that. So but I don't really mind skipping that, but the low level I can just say I'm just trying to use this as a case study so that I'll be able to understand how we actually doing it. So the so you send the request to HR manager, the HR manager received that request. So you could use all this message color, you should use it and you could not. So it just depends anyway, but sometimes I do use it. So, but I'm not going to do that for her or the boxes. So then this HR receives, receives a vacancy request. Vacancy request form. And here, so then what happened? Then the HR was send. So now, so because it could be probably the HR wants to be able to send the vacancy request to agency and also on their website. So it's in the low level, that you'll be able to explain that probably maybe the system that they must build for the organization, it needs to have a capability of sending that request to or maybe the agency via a link, and you should be able to post it on social media. You should be able to, because it's one of the things I've worked on. So you have so many options that maybe your, the business stakeholders may say this is how we want this new system, new recruitment system to work. So you can actually detail all those things in the low level, so the supplier will be able to understand what you actually want. Because if not, they wouldn't know whether you want it to be able to send to HR agency and also to post on jobs or maybe social media. They may just think maybe you just want it on your own website alone. So that's why you need to clearly state everything that you want. So I would just say, okay, send vacancy to agency. So send vacancy uh, vacancy to agency. So that means the new system they want it. So that means if I'm having to, to do this, so that means I need another lane for the agency. So that means I'm going to add one here. So, and I can say agency. So that means agency, receives. Okay, because of no. Agency receives request. Agency receive request, yeah. And if no, that could even be, the end for that, but I would just leave it as that, saying that ends then. Let me just put that. If not, I will have to change it depending on, what I tend to do for the rest later. Let me just minimize this. Okay, so because now so now you send that, so they send the record vacancy to agency, and it could be probably, now you have that's one option, and it could be they will send that to also, let me say, so I can bring my arrow here. So we said receive vacancy, send to agency. Oh, So even here, it could be maybe a sub process, because if the agency, if they actually, so actually that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, I'm going to use that. I'm going to delete this off. Because for the agency to be able to to do all the stuff, so it could be they will have their own process of the for the for communicating to agency. The agency will need to feed them back to say, okay, complete this term, what's the rate, send the shortlisting. But we don't, because we don't want to really go into that, so we just say agency, let's say outsource, let me just call it the outsource staff. I will just use that word. So stuff. Yeah. So that's the sub process. So that means this is a sub process on its own. So we'll leave it as that. So yeah. So that's the, if they send that to the agency, and if not, if they're not using that one, let me just bring it down here, because you can actually adjust that, because if you think that's not working, you can adjust it. So there's no crime in doing that. So I just want to make sure everything is good. So here, so that means I could have, it could be two ways, so that's why I'm using there. So if it's not by the agency, so that means they will post that on the, that means they will post that on their website, post on the website, post on the website. Yeah. So, and it could be you want to be able to post on Facebook, post on this, then, all this thing there needs to be detailed, but because of time, I'm not going to do that. So post on, when they post the job on the website, if the vacancy on the website, that means then it's next to the, for the candidates. So we can say candidates browse the website, because we actually candidate browse the website, because I want them to be able to, to understand, because we're doing detail or low level the website. I can really see. So browse the website. So when a candidate browse the website, it could be, when you browse the website, which happens most time, like a job serve, you need to create an account. So that's how you want the system to operate, the new recruitment system to work. So it's not just they can just upload, they click on the application, they upload CV. So here in the low level, you can just say, create an account, create. So that means the candidate will create. Sorry, I can't really see here. It's really tiny. I will have to zoom this, sorry, because I need to be able to see. So create accounts. So that means we are creating accounts for, the candidate. We need to create an account, and you could even go into more detail, say create username and password. So, but I would just say create an account because of time. And now, just for me to mention this before I forget, like if you are actually gathering your requirements, you are doing the detail, this each of these box, you can actually split that into so many questions. Like, for example, if I'm not doing the detail, I've submitted this to the supplier, and I'm now trying to document my detailed business process. I would have submitted the business process, which is high level one. Then I'm not doing the detailed requirements, which you need to specify everything in, A to Z. So I can say when they are creating accounts, what exactly, because those are the questions that you need to ask your stakeholders. How do you want them to create an account? Can they use their social media to apply for the job? Is it just only the website? And if they are creating an account, is it just name and username? What combination of the password do you want them to be able to use? Is it just, alphanumeric, or do they have to use symbols and special characters? Those are the questions that you need to come up with. Then you can even say when they're creating an account, do they need to, do like a memorable questions? How many questions? Is it just 3 or 4? You need to really drill down, so that at least, because if you don't say that, and probably maybe the stakeholder, they actually want all those information, and you don't input that in your business detailed requirement, then the supplier will just build anything because you didn't specify it. They will just say you said they should be able to create an account. That's what you mentioned. You didn't say they should be able to go, they should set up a questions, memorable questions and things like that. So that's why you have to be detailed. So I'll just move on. So they've now create an account. Because of time, I don't want to go into detail on that. Then they can apply for the job. So that means it's only when they create an account. If you remember in the earlier one, in the ASIS, they don't create an account, but now we want them to be able to create an account. So then they can now apply for the job. Apply for the job. Or apply for job. Let me just say apply for job. So once they apply for job, so what happens? So if they're applying for a job, then you can even ask that, how did they apply for a job? Did they attach the CV, or did they need to, type all those work? There are some websites, they will say you need to write everything out. They don't do, attach CV. You have to write where you work, the date, you need to write it out. So those are the things, the question you need to ask, how you want the system to work. Then you can even ask what form, even if they're going to attach, what format is it going to be? Is it PDF? Is it Microsoft Word? Is it RTS? You need to be able to understand all those, you need to detail all those requirements. So very detailed. So now they apply for the job. So once they apply for the job, so probably maybe, the system, you may say this, the business may say they want the system to actually, alert the, the HR. So that means we can even say apply for the job. We can say here, so we can say receive an alert. So that means once they apply for the job, the system must send an alert to the HR. So we can say receives alert. So that means the HR that will receive alert in generic, we can say receives alert in generic mailbox. Probably maybe you may even want to specify the mailbox, depending. So at least we can just say receive alert in generic mailbox. So now, so you could if you can remember, we didn't even have all this one in to be. So I mean it's assist. So that means that's what they wanted it to be. So now receive as an alert. Then we can say so that means now that the person has received an alert, the HR will now need to send the CVs, to the hiring manager. Send the CVs. Send CV to we can just send CVs, and once the hire is there, then I can do send CV. So this person, so this is the hiring manager. This is the hiring manager. Just because of screen, that's why I enlarge. So for you to see, so hiring manager. So we can say receive CVs. receives CVs. And what happened when this person receives CVs? Sorry, I need to zoom that again because I can't really see. Yep. Okay, so when the person receives CVs, and the recruitment manager will make you say uh, uh, review, or maybe let's say feedback to feedback on sorry feedback on shortlisted candidate. Feedback on shortlisted candidates, and then the HR team, we arrange interview time. So now, even in this arranged interview, now, one of the questions that you may even ask is that, how did they arrange the interview? Is it that you want this on the the HR personnel stakeholder may say, we want to be able to have a calendar pop up so that when we send the link to the candidates, they will have different time and different interview slots, and they'll be able to select. So that's part of your detail, that's part of your detailed requirements that you will be able to gather. So let me quickly do that, but I'm just mentioning that I may not be able to do all the boxes. So I would say, so arrange interview time. So we can even say send link to, let's say, send link in interview slot, or interview link, send interview, or send interviewing interview, or interview slots, wherever, interview slots link. Yeah. Okay. So now this person is sending it to you, are sending it to the candidates. So the candidate can now select their own interview time, select interview slots. So you can see now, because you are actually saying is the link, is not telephone, and is not a letter. So now, so we can now say the candidate will send that, we select the select interview slot, and then the system, probably, maybe we are now saying that the system or the HR will even confirm that we need to confirm, that interview time. But because of time, I'm not going to do that, to be honest. I'm not going to do that. And I'm just going to say, when this person selects interview slots, so there are some things that happen in between here. So the system will say, probably maybe send confirmation. So let's say receives confirmation email for the interview. So it could be auto-generated. So those are the things that you need to be able to document, because they may just want everything to be automated. So you need to write down, detail that in your requirements, in your detailed business requirements, saying, so the system needs to be able to generate automated email back to the candidates, or to confirm their maybe interviewing time. So those are the things that you need to do. So let's okay, now this person has received interviewing time confirmation, and now this candidate attend the interview, attend the interview. Okay, and the manager will now so now I'm going to drag this to the hiring manager. So the hiring manager will conduct the interview. Then after that, then the manager can feedback to the feedback on the feedback. Yeah, let me just say feedback on. So then, who do they feedback to? Is it HR or is it candidate? Then we can decide that. So attend interview feedback to candidates. So we are actually probably maybe the manager will be contacting this person directly. So let's say the person will be contacting directly. So HR is not going to be for. So now this person is now the candidate receives outcome, receives outcome of the interview. And so we can even say, so here, so it could be probably maybe is from here that will say whether the person is successful or not. This manager see feedback. So let's now say, assume that the manager feedback regardless of the situation. So this person receives, then we can put the decision box here and saying to determine is the person even successful? Is successful? We can just say successful. So if it's no, that means that's the end of the road for that person. So we're saying no, fail, no. Don't forget to always put that there so that at least whoever that is reading will be able to know. And if it's yes, what happened? Let's see. So if it's yes, I can say yes. So we can say the HR we need to send offer letter. Send offer letter of send offer letter. Yeah, or send offer. So now we can even ask. You can even ask the stakeholder, say, how do they want to send the offer of employment? Is it by email or by telephone or by link or by by letter, hard copy? Those are the things that you need to detail. So now we say send offer letter. So that means the person will be sending the offer letter to because I can even bring this one here so that it will be a bit neater and make sure everything is still within the boundary. Yeah. So then I can bring this one up to make sure it's in there. So send offer letter. So to candidate, so receives offer, receives because of time, receives offer. Yeah. So now, so if the person receives offer letter now, receives offer, then we can say, then you confirm. They may want you to actually confirm whether you accept it or decline. So we can even have a decision box there saying accept or decline. So, but I think I will want to skip that because of time. So if the person receives offer letter, yeah, actually, let me just do that because of something. Offer letter. So receives offer letter, accepted. Let's say accepted. So if the person did not accept, let's say no, that means I want to end that accepted. So that means that's the end of the road for that person as well, because the person may have, let's say, 2 or 3 other offers. So we can say accepted, no. But if it's yes, what happened? So yes, what happened if it's yes? So that means I want to go back to the recruitment manager, the hiring manager. We need to kick off the onboarding process. So it could be, yeah. So the person maybe have to complete onboarding process. So let's use this as a sub process. So I'm going to delete that one off. So, and if the onboarding process is being carried out by HR and manager, so we can have it within, between this boundary. So probably maybe you should put it that way. Yeah. so that we can say both of the HR and the HR and the manager, we do the onboarding process. So we can now say onboarding. Yeah. So that means during this onboarding process, they will need to complete new starter form. You need to also do that. Then the candidates can we can even say that's the end, because once they click, this onboarding process kicks in. Probably maybe that's the end, but probably we can give another task to the candidates resume job. Let me reduce this. So this person resumes job. Resumes job. And yeah, and we can say that's the end of the road for that person, and that's the recruitment process what they want. So you could see that you have like three ends in here, and you have only one star. So you could have more than one end. And so if I minimize that, and this is our our to be process, and this is the first draft. This is the first draft. It could be, probably, maybe, by the time you send this to your hiring, to the stakeholder, they may identify that you have some gaps there, you've missed some steps, then they will tell you, then you'll be able to, make alteration on it. It will be version 0.2, version 0.3, until they are perfectly fine, happy with what you've mapped and say, exactly, this is what we've actually want. So we can color this, but because of time, I'm not going to do that. So we now have our our high level, the high level assess. If I share the high level assess, and this is to be high level as well, and this is the low level to be. So I think for the process, I think we are done, for the process, and I think that should be enough. So now, just quick, one or two things I need to talk about before we move on as well. Let me just quickly do that. Okay, let me move back to this. Yeah, so we've discussed at the high level and the low level, so we've discussed on that. And when you are documenting your requirements, like I mentioned, during the introduction, we have functional requirements and non-functional requirements. And what is the functional requirement? The functional requirement is how we want the solution, what we want the solution to do, what the solution is supposed to do. For example, I'm going to use the recruitment system as a case study for tonight. So one of the functional requirements is that user must be able to, or candidates must be able to create an account when applying for job. So that's a functional requirement. So I can say a system must be able to send may be able to generate automated email to the candidates when they register, or probably maybe when they apply, when they select interview slots, a user or a candidate must be able to receive automated email to confirm their interview time. So the requirements, the functional requirements is also, those are the things that how you want the solution to, what you want the solution to do. So like maybe the HR must be able to upload vacancy on the website. The hiring manager must be able to send feedback, to what's it called, to the candidates, all those things, how you want the system to be, maybe what the HR needs to do, maybe the communication between the HR and the hiring manager. It could be you just want the system to be able to notify, to be able to notify hiring manager once let's say the HR inputs a particular details and say, oh, I've now shortlisted five emails is in the folder. So probably maybe an email or maybe an alert will be generated and sent to the hiring manager to confirm or to say, to notify that, like a notification email. All those things that you want the system to do, those are the functional requirements. And how do you write your functional requirement? Like here we are documenting that just for the purpose, because I don't want to write that in the so how do you write your functional requirements? So it starts with F. So you can say F001, F001, 001. So that's your functional requirements. So let's say that's the number one requirement. You don't, like I said during introduction, you are not supposed to be merging, like requirements together. One requirement for one line. So like, for example, automated generated email, one, user must be able to create an account, F002. Maybe the HR must be able to upload from A003, like that. That's how you just, label hits when you are writing it, F02, F03, F04, like that till you reach, if it's 100, F100. So that's how you label your functional requirements, because when you are documenting your business requirements, and sometimes it depends on the template and the organization that you work. Sometimes they have their own, their own templates. And some people, what they do for the high level, they may say high level, that means high level functional 1. So that means high level requirement. They're telling you the high level requirement functional 1, high level functional 2, And so now, because they've actually differentiated between high level and detailed, so that if they're not doing that, they can now say detailed requirements functional 1, detailed requirements functional, functional 2. But that F, functional, needs to be there. And they may even say, probably maybe, some people may even say business requirements functional 1, business requirements functional 2. So the key was what I'm trying to stress here is the F, which is, it means your functional requirements, the functions and the functionalities of the system, how you want the system to operate. That's the essence of what I'm trying to stress here. So those are the all those activities that we've mentioned, what they want the system to do. Those are the functional requirements. So when we are not talking about the non-functional requirement, the non-functional requirement is how you want the solution supposed to be. It's like the criteria that you use to judge the operation of the system. Like, for example, I can say the performance, this scalability, the availability, all these litty, you understand? So those are the, then the performance is not litty anyway. So, those are the non-functional requirements, because it's not something that you will actually, you'll be able to use, but the system must be able to, to function in that perspective as well. So we do that as non-functional. So when we are doing the labeling the non-functional, because you have so many requirements on the non-functional as well. And for the non-functional, you also use your Moscow, even the same thing as functional as well, functional requirement. You use your Moscow, or a user must be able to do this, or candidates must, because we want the candidate to be able to, must actually create an account before they can apply for job. That means a user must, so the priority level is a must create an account, must be able to create an account before applying for job. So probably, if they are selecting, probably maybe it's something that we just think, probably if they, I'm trying to figure out, let's say, send email or attach a file. We can just say a user should be able to attach a file. So it's not that it's a must that they have to do, but it's an option they could use as well. If they want to attach it, fine. And if they could just choose to enter everything on the web page like that, so it's not a must. So for all your requirements, because we've mentioned this in the first video session, you have must, you have your priority level. So everything is still applies for the functional requirements and the non-functional requirement. So for the non-functional requirements, we just have NF, and you have so you have N001. I don't know why I'm writing. Type is 001. So you can just say it could be 001 and N 002. So it depends on how, so like if they're actually the people that use this format, HL high level something, so they can do HL NF1. So depending on the template that they are using in your organization, because there is possibility that definitely you have a template in that organization, you can just follow the format of numbering all your requirements, be it non-functional or functional requirement. So it's just for you to be able to know that the non-functional requirements are the, like maybe the data integrity, the retention period, the recovery, the data recovery, like the data usage, or probably maybe they may be, say, the availability should be 99.90, or it could be the non-functional. An example of one non-functional requirement is that it should be compatible, or it must be. I can say it must be compatible with Internet Explorer 11.0, and I could say it could be now, because I'm just saying it could be compatible with Firefox. Firefox. You understand? So everything, your non-functional requirements is also, Moscow as well. You need to apply your Moscow, and also it could even be that the stakeholder may say the system must be able to be used by the people that can really see. I think there's a way they call it. I can't really remember the language for that, the vocabulary for that. So that the speech to text, things like that it should be compatible with that. So those are your non-functional, your requirements. So it could be different types of it could be on application properties like Internet Explorer. It could be on security. It's still part of your non-functional requirements. And it could be like the disaster recovery or non-functional requirement. So, so like some of the application is the availability, backup, recovery, retention, scalability, capacity, data volumes. There are so many requirements, but you need to ask them, and your stakeholder will be able to give you those information as well. So just remember, you need to also use your Moscow as well. It needs to be applied, to your non-functional requirements. And I think I'll quickly move to the next one. Just because of time, let me just quickly check through. Okay. Yeah, visual impaired. Thanks for that. Brain for blind. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay. Okay. So we've covered that, and we move to wireframing. I'm sure some of you must have come across this wireframing, and this is a way of mocking up a solution. Like most times when you are actually, doing any like a digital let's say project, like most times for websites, is commonly used to lay out like the content, how you want the website, to actually operate. And for you to be able to carry out your wireframing, because you need to be able to have an idea of, what are the idea of the requirements, at least a bit of understanding of how you want, or what the project is all about. For example, like the recruitment, they can say they want the recruitment system to be, the web application based. So that means you need to decide or work with your stakeholder. How do they want the layout of the website to be? So probably maybe it's going to be like a website. How do they want it to be? How do they want it to look? What color? Which area? What are the functionalities? So it could be probably maybe, for example, they may say on top of this, for maybe at the left hand corner, that's where we want our contacts to be, or maybe at the bottom, that's where we want our contact to be. You know, the layout of the website and the layout of the form. So that's what you use your the wireframing to do, so that at least it will help the stakeholder to actually visualize, you know, how the website is going to be or how the form is going to look. Even, for example, if it's an application, web application form, or it could even be, okay, let's say web application form. So you will be able to, you know, work your stakeholder through and design it together. Say, okay, you can go with a draft, you know, maybe on the screen on your PC and say, okay, this is what I've drafted for the application form. Is it right? Do you want the name details or name, the surname, the middle name, the DOB? Or they may say, okay, remove that. We actually want, we don't want all those things. Could you provide a section for personal statement? Or they mean, you know, it's just for them to be able to have a feel of how the form is going to be, or how the website is going to look. And you can, so it's just like mopping up, like a prototype, mocking up your solution out, what they want to design. So that is what the wireframe, they use that for. And you can use your PowerPoint, this PowerPoint, you can just use it. You can draw everything, you know, like on a blank white background. You can draw your table, use everything to draw that. Because of time, I'm not going to do that. You know, you can just draw something, you know, put boxes, rectangle boxes. This is contact, you know, put some other things there. Just a layout, you know, how you, if you want to, you can, it's sort of like when you are sketching a website form, or maybe a website, when you sketch it. So that is exactly what we are talking about. That is what we call wireframing, sketching how you want the website to be. So it is easier, you know, to maneuver and to be able to let the customer, the stakeholder tell you, oh, we need this to be there. We don't need this particular one, you know. So you can use your PowerPoint to mock up this solution. You can use your Excel. If it's something like a form, you can use Excel to mock that up, to actually, you know, show that, you know, draft that particular form. And it could be, you could use your Visio, and they use Balsamic as well. And there's some other tools that you can use to, you know, to do this wireframing solution, you know, for your stakeholder. So it just helps to walk your stakeholder through, and this will actually help you. So you can use it to document to get your requirements for the high level and also for the detailed level as well. So it's not just only like one time. So you can use it for the first time to get your high level review. Then probably by the time you're gathering your detailed requirements, then you'll be drilling down, you know, you can still use it as well to get your detailed requirements from the stakeholders. And so most times they use that for projects to develop a website, or maybe, so because if you don't have for example, if you are designing a website and you don't use a wireframe, you know, is really a huge risk, because you may not really know the position of those things, how they want it, how they want all those contents on the website to be positioned. You may not even know the font size. You may not even, you know, the color, the background, you know, all those specifications. You may not really act to get it. And imagine if you don't, you know, have a sketch of how the website is going to look like, and you find you've documented your requirements as in Word or Excel, you've sent that to developer, they've actually done, you know, design a website, and then you can say, okay, oh, sorry, stakeholder, we want to walk through what you've designed. And the stakeholder tell you, sorry, we don't want all the site map, we don't want this, or this is what we want. You know, that's like a rework. You're going to spend, you know, the cost, you know, the time, you know, wasted, things like that. So it's always help, you know, when you are doing any digital project, be it website, be it form, you know, be it form. So it's always good to, you know, use that wireframe to mock up that solution. So it's just like having, you know, you want to build a house, and you don't have like architectural design of that building before you build it. That means, that means that could be a catastrophe, because how do you know what you want to build? If you don't have, like a design, the architectural design, how do you want to build? You can't just be building something without without a design in place. So that's the essence of the wireframing. And so you can use it for example, like the mobile phone as well, like like all this mobile phone, they use all this wireframing techniques, technology or tools to do it, because then maybe Samsung will be able to say, when the user of the phone, when they click on this should display 6 boxes. That is the essence. So like your website, your phone, your mobile, your tablet, they use wireframing to make sure how the layout is going to be when the user is going to use it as well. So I think we'll move on to other thing I think I need to discuss before. I think that should be, so you can read up on that, but that is basically the what the wireframing is all about. And so we have, when you're documenting your requirements as well, we have what we call system requirements, which we usually use Excel most times, to depending, but most times I use Excel to document that system requirements, because this is where I'm going to be able to say I can label that, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to do that tonight because of time, because I don't want to, I don't want to keep you as well. So for for this, we can say, if you're creating your user story, let me just quickly talk through this probably. So your epic, because you may come across epic. Epic is like a feature in the requirements as well. So we can say epic could be like a group of user stories, like a team. So when we call it team, I can say application, I can say registration. So the registration can be broken down into different user stories. So the registration could be creating accounts. It could be, it could be probably maybe registering details. It could be uploading form. It could be uploading, the attachments or maybe picture, things like that. So the registration, it involves more than one activities. So is a team, they usually use it as well. They may say, oh, how many epics, or what is the epic for your, for this requirement? It's just like a category of that requirement. Let me just put it that way, category of that requirement or a feature. So it's like high-level categories of requirements. So usually have multiple user stories. And so like one epic can be broken down into 2, 3, 4, depending on the so our epic could be, for this, it could be registration, it could be onboarding, it could be interviewing, it could be, so many things depending on how we break that down, so that's what we call epic. So it's just for you to have an understanding what epic is. And user stories is usually the low level, like one specific requirement. So you cannot group like 2 requirements into one user story. It should be simple and clear. And so because these user stories will help the developers and the quality, or the tester, because they rely on these user stories to be able to work, to develop, because sometimes I've worked on a project that it will say, actually, what are the, so once you group those epic, like the requirements, they may say, okay, actually, what is the, because we have so many tasks that we are doing for other projects, what are the priorities, your requirements that is a must that you have to deliver maybe in March, so that maybe they can only do 2 things. So we may say they should do just registration and interviewing. So that means those 2 epic or teams could have like 10 or 20 requirements. So that means the onboarding could be delivered later. So your user stories as well. So your user stories, so it's something that the tester, they use to actually test those functionalities, because it will be requirements. I'll quickly see if we can try to, if we can do few of it. So if you don't mind, we can spend probably maybe 10 minutes, if you don't mind to go over 10 minutes for tonight, because I just think it's good to just finish that up. So for the user stories, I'll quickly do that. And so, and I think I want to cover some other things, which is just one, but we may not, I would just say. So I'll try and see if we can run through this. So for my user stories, and so it's going to be combined with the epic as well. So let's see. And then, so for the user stories, is usually like, for example, because of the case study we are using, I would say, so I will have, depending on the template that you have, but generally you have like the author, then you have like so because most times, you know, for your user stories, you need to have your version control, who created it as well, because in Word document you can have all those, you know, template, but because of Excel, there's no where you're going to put it. How would they be able to know who created it, what version is this, who signed it up? So because that's why I have my audit tray here. I'm sure you can see that. So this is my author, because I'm going to create that. This is my version. This is version probably maybe 0.1 or 1, and probably maybe comments. Then I can have the stakeholder, probably maybe the stakeholder that actually approve it, or maybe comments that is being provided on it, and sign off dates, because definitely you need that to be sign off dates, and probably maybe your approval email, maybe approval email link. So yes, so all this, so this is for just for the audit. Then we're not going to proper. So because when you are documenting, you always make sure you have all this thing in place, so that whoever is looking into it, they'll be able to know, because it could be version 1.0 or 2.0. At least the developer will be able to know and who created it as well. So I'll just go to this. I will just rename this as my requirements. I can say the so this will be let's say business requirements, or system requirements, so depending. So here, so now I can say this is my UID, that is my user story ID. So, and the features like the epic, I can say epic, I can say theme, I can say feature, I can say epic, so depending, also means the same. And here I can say the user stories. So then I can say acceptance criteria. So because how will you know, to be able to say acceptance criteria, what the business will have, how what will make the business to accept that is done, and then the priority level. Moscow, you can just say Moscow, you can say priority. Let me just say priority. And so if it's something like a regulatory, you can just say regulatory, but I think I will leave that for now. So depending on what you're doing. So yeah, so here, let's put it here, because we're going to, so I'm going to say this is my one now. This is the first one. So it could be, it could be my, let's say even FOO, let's say FOO, F001. So yeah, so the team, so I would say application. Okay, no, let me just say registration. So for the registration, I'm saying I want to say for your ACs, for your user stories, how do you have your user story? You have as a, then which is, if you say as a, which means your row. So now what is the row that I want to do? I'm trying to say, let me just put the format first as a, then I can say I want what I want, which is my goal or desire. Then so that so benefits as well. So yeah, so now I can say as a candidate. So I'm saying that as a candidate, I'm going to remove it as a candidate. as a candidate, I want to be able to create an account so that I can apply for job. So now, so that's how you write your user story. It could be as a HR person. I want to be able to view. I want to be able to view submitted application so that I can shortlist. So this person is saying, as a candidate, I want to be able to create. I want to be able to create an account. An account so that I can apply for a job, because without that the person will not be able to create. So that means the business may say, the stakeholder may say, applicants able to create an account. So if the tester, so what is the priority? Is it a must or they should? Is a must. So that means if the tester is going through these user stories, they can actually use it to test the website to say, can the user actually create an account for it? And can they, so if the user cannot create an account, so that means that's a bug. So that means that has failed. So that means, so for the stakeholder to actually accept this, that this has been done, or maybe is accepted, so an applicant must be able to create an account. So under this registration, we can still say, as an applicant, so we can say, as a candidate, I want to be able to create. So I want to be able to create memorable questions, or create memorable questions so that I can retrieve my password if I forget, so that I can retrieve my account or password. So you could see now, so that means, so the acceptance criteria is that user or applicants is able to create or set up, set up memorable questions. Yeah, so you can see, and what's the the priority? It could be should or must, but let's leave it as should. Yeah, let's say should. So you could see now, so the epic is the registration. These are your user stories. So I want to, so that's how you write it. I want, so that, so these are the key ones. So most times I just block this and bold this there, so at least you can, those are the key ones. I want. So that's how you write your user stories. So when you are sending this to probably maybe the developer or the IT team, so this is what you are going to send to them for the detailed as well, for the system requirements. So that does not mean that you are not going to have your business requirement, but because of time, I'm not going to go through the business requirement, because this is a system, for the system. So this is the system requirement, and I think I will just try to end that for now because of time. Yeah, because of time. So, and I think so yeah, because of time. So because I think probably maybe next week we'll just try to round up, and I think next week we are going to talk on the business requirement document template, which is something I have on here, but because of time I'm not going to do that. I will leave that till next week. So just a quick one. So I know we've covered the how to map your process and how to write your user stories now, and so I think what is left is just to document the business requirements and also to do the validation. So, and one other thing probably maybe during the week, or yeah, we're still going to contact you on the workshop. So although it's not compulsory, it's just that all these things that we've learned in the past 4 weeks, we'll be able to experiment that, practicalize that, having face to face. So I will try and discuss with the coordinator, and we'll be able to see how we can arrange that. It could be maybe 2 weeks time. It could be 3 weeks time. We'll have that at Crayford, and so it will be face to face. So it could be yes, we probably maybe next week we may have to, do the user stories and use the case study for the recruitment next week. Yeah, because of time. So probably maybe we'll do that next week, the user stories and the business requirement. But just to, hint you that we'll be having the workshop as well. So it's not compulsory, but you just want to, use all the techniques and all the tools that we've actually discussed so far. You can join the session. So but we'll be sending that information out this week, and we want you to indicate or show interest. I mean, indicate your interest whether you want to attend or not, because probably maybe by the end of the week we'll be grouping them into whoever that is interested will have a groups to do some projects, and which will be carried out on that day. But you need to be aware of the group that you have and the project that you're going to work on, so that on that day you have to show us how you're going to do your project, maybe when you get into the market. So yeah, just a hint, but that will be communicated during the week as well. That will be communicated across. So yeah. So, and I do for the workshop, if you want to actually participate in the for the internship, as part of the internship is compulsory. If you want to be part of the internship program, if you want to take part, the workshop is compulsory. So but but it all depends. If it's not something that you are really interested in, yeah, that's fine. But that will be communicated across during the week anyway, just to let you know. And yeah. So, and I think I think that's all for me tonight. And thank you so much for your time. And sorry for running over the time by 9 minutes again. Sorry, I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. So, up to catch up with you next week, and we'll communicate across during the week on the workshop as well. Thank you so much, and have a lovely night. Yeah, thank you.